If you have been dreaming about turning your love of baking into a money-making venture and someone reaches out to you and asks you to bake for them for money, you might be very stressed at what to do next. But don't worry, I've got you. I'm Laura from Sweet Handmade Cookies, and I've been a professional baker for over 16 years. I specialize in custom decorated cookies, and I've made over 70,000 of them for thousands of customers. And like you, I used to dream about how to make money with my baking skills. So let's discuss how to navigate those first scary steps to secure a potential customer and all the customers that are sure to follow. And while we talk, I'll be making this adorable 3rd birthday Barnyard animal set. I hope you enjoy watching that process.
Before you ever get the butter out of the fridge or crack an egg, there is some housekeeping that needs to be done. There are 4 distinct steps that will lead to the confirmation of any order. For me, an order is not confirmed or started until I have received a deposit. But the deposit is the last of these 4 steps. Let's discuss them so you can end up with money in the bank. The first step happens when someone contacts you and inquires. Let's call this the inquiry and follow-up step. At the most basic level, the customer will want to know if you can make the product they want. And since I only make cookies, for the purpose of this video, I'll just talk about cookies. And they want to know what you charge. You'll need some information as well, and in an attempt to get all the questions answered quickly, in my follow-up, I try to establish the date they need the cookies, how many cookies they want, and the theme or design they are looking for. Even if they didn't ask in their initial inquiry, I supply them with my price and minimum order. I also mention right away that no order is secured on my calendar until I receive a deposit. That keeps the conversation going if the customer wants to move ahead. Sometimes the conversation ends at this point. If my calendar is full, I reject the order. And if my prices and/or minimum order are too high for the customer, they'll reject the order. And that's okay. My calendar is tight and I don't negotiate my pricing or minimum order requirements. And unless the timeline is short, in which case I set a firm deadline, I don't hound the customer. If the customer ghosts me after I respond to their initial request, I leave it alone. They've got my contact info, the ball is in their court. And if they wait, there's a very good chance my calendar will have filled up. But if the customer is still eager to move forward, you can move on to the next step, which is usually establishing the design. Sometimes my customers know exactly what they want the cookies to look like. As examples, they might send me pictures of sets that they like. They could be pictures of my cookies or sets that other cookie artists have done. If they don't yet know what they want, we work together to come up with the design. We can discuss the event's theme, color scheme, the invitation, or the decorations and use those as inspiration. At this point, some bakers prepare mock-ups for customers of the cookies they want to do. If that's your thing, good for you. But believe me when I tell you I have never done a mock-up. I've never even been asked to do a mock-up. If I have done a similar theme, I will send pictures of those cookies. If I have never done their desired theme before, I might send over a picture of a similar theme, for example, a woodland animal set if they're looking for a jungle animal set. That way they can see my skill level and get some idea of what they can expect from me. And instead of a mock-up, I put it into words. So I might say, I'll create 6 bibs, 6 rattles, 6 onesies, and 6 plaques with the word baby. The color scheme will be 2 shades of blue, cream, and white. And once the customer and I are happy with the planned design, we are ready for the next step. By the way, please don't get stuck in the design phase before you have discussed your minimum price. You could end up doing a lot of work that leads nowhere if they end up rejecting you because they have finally heard your price and it is too much for them. I will say here that I sometimes move on to the next steps before we have worked out the exact design because my customers don't want to risk losing the spot on my calendar. And because I have a robust catalog of my work online, most people are comfortable paying the deposit to secure that spot. Next is the terms and conditions, also referred to as policies. Before I accept any payment from a customer, I direct them to read my terms and conditions. They clearly spell out my payment expectations, how I handle refunds, any allowable changes to an order, how I handle the design. This part gives me some flexibility, but I do direct them to look at my work on my website so they get an understanding of my style. It also explains how I package my cookies, allergen information, and more. This answers a lot of questions and eliminates surprises for the customers, and most importantly, gives me a leg to stand on if the customer comes back to me with an issue. Did I have a set of terms and conditions for my first paying customers? Of course not. I was flying by the seat of my pants, but it is not too early to start thinking about them and get to writing your own as soon as you can. Let me know if you'd like me to discuss this in more detail in a later video. Finally, let's talk about the deposit. I always require a 50% deposit, and I don't consider an order confirmed until I have that deposit. That means my calendar could accept other orders instead and squeeze a potential customer off my schedule. I charge the same price for all of my cookies with a few exceptions. I do this for a number of reasons, but it is something I will discuss in detail in a future video. But for now, you should know that it makes things very easy for both myself and my customers. There are no price negotiations, I have flexibility in my designs, and deciding on a price is almost always done in that first email exchange, which my customers love. I will mention that if the customer is not completely sure of the total number of cookies they will need, we do a guesstimate and base the deposit on that number and work out the difference before the pickup date. For the deposit and 95% of the time for the remaining payment, I accept EFTs or electronic fund transfers. They are quick, easy, and secure. Within minutes, the deposit is in my bank account and the customer's order is confirmed on my calendar. I'm not sure if there is an equivalent to EFTs in the United States, so that's something you would have to figure out if that's where you are based out of. So to review, establish that you can take the order based on your calendar, find out the number of cookies the customer wants, their design, and quote your price. Work out the design in more detail and let the customers know what to expect via your policies and/or terms and conditions. Finally, accept at minimum a 50% deposit. And now you can finally move on to the next step, which is creating the cookies. Now let's quickly discuss the cookies I made today. After baking and flooding the cookies, I used my Eddy, the edible ink printer, to print a green gingham background. Then I projected coloring book images of farm animals onto the cookies and traced and filled the designs. Both the gingham background and the farm animal images came from Etsy. I used edible ink markers at the end to add details to those adorable faces.
I hope this video has given you some confidence for that first paid order. You won't get everything right the first time, so give yourself some grace. What I know for certain is that if you are at this stage, you already have a lot of baking experience, and whatever you make, it is sure to be delicious. Good luck.
Thanks for watching my video today. If you are an aspiring baker looking to earn money from your baking, I hope today's video helped. If you're interested in ordering cookies from me, I'm located in Ontario, just north of the GTA. Visit my website or social media channels. Links are located in the video description. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss a video. See you next week.